Debem, and we've been analyzing the need for leadership qualities in Nigerian youth, and what we've said so far is that there's a dire need to start from a very tender age. We're looking at the ages of between 30, what do you call it, 7,
yeah, to 13.
What's your perception about the stereotype that most people have? Not most people, wrong language. The stereotype that certain people have that the Nigerian youth itself is very lazy. The Nigerian youth is very entitled. They feel they're entitled to certain things, and then they don't want to put in the kind of work or determination that comes with being a leader now. And they're more on a fast pace. They want everything fast. They want everything now. They're not interested in like, okay, I want to work for 15 years if I'm able to buy a car. Why? When I can maybe do one Yahoo job or do one, scam, and I can make money quickly. So how do we deal with this? How do we address it? Is that perception of the Nigerian correct, or is it just a misconception by myopic point of view from a few people?
I don't think it's a misconception, and at the same time, I don't think we are giving it a good. We are not balancing it, because also among Nigerian youth are people with intelligence, people who are creative, who are innovative. Everywhere you find a Nigerian youth, it has something to give back to the society. But some people, like you said, have the negative, the other side of life, which you will always see. Not necessarily because it ought to be so, but because you do not expect anybody to give you what you don't have. All these youth we are talking about, they came from family, they have parents. And the question I keep asking, where are their parents?
So we're still going back to
We're still going back, yes, because that is the major place. When we talk about money, how did this money, chase for money come about? You hear our politicians, they talk money. Everybody talks money. Even your parents.
In religion too,
talks money.
Worship centers.
And most times they don't care about how this happens. Today we see in different occasions where we see money being kept, not used. We hear about Ghana must go, people carrying money. They take them to houses. Children are in those houses. Today we also hear about people who send their children abroad and then paid all the money that is required. But they are not there to know how these children are doing. Sometimes they spend about 5 years without their parents before coming home. Being a graduate, you don't know the society and you don't know what they have been through. How do you assess this kind of parenting? So we have left our education system for us and then send our children there thinking that they will go and acquire education. Like you said, education without character can only be counterproductive. And that's what we've seen among some of these people. But I can also assure you that I don't believe that rating Nigeria to be one of the worst societies where we have children who are not readily available for productivity. It's not. I don't think it's so, because we have much more Nigerians doing a whole lot. Go out there and see people are pushing wheelbarrow in order to eat. People are selling pure water in order to eat, and that's what the society has provided them with. We have young people who have graduated who have no job for many years. So what do? They said an idle mind is the devil's workshop. So whatever we're seeing in the society, we, the parents, must take responsibility by doing all we can to make sure that we bridge this gap. Because we cannot blame a child who was not taught on what to do, and then he's now doing what he feels he could do, because if you don't shape your child, the society will help you shape them. So the truth about it is that we need to do more.
Talking about shaping a child, that if you don't do that, the society is going to shape for you. I know we had mentioned media, but when we talked about media, we talked about it in terms of the constraint that you have in sending out some of your messages to the public, But the media itself, isn't that also an issue with the content that children see? For example, I stopped watching Nigerian movies, the Nollywood sector, for a very long while, until of recent I noticed that the kind of movies that they put out has changed. the kind of movies they have on Netflix has changed. You know, they have more content-based movies. But before, a couple of years, if it's not someone doing ritual, they show you that everybody that makes money was someone that killed someone or did some kind of ritual, and then that was the kind of content they were having. And I know there was a time I was actually shocked out of my skull. Somewhere in Anambra it happened that 2 young boys actually went to a ritual, to a ritualist, to a traditional, I think a dibia, let me not call him a ritualist because they're 2 different things. He actually went to a dibia and then thought the dibia was a ritualist. And the man said, no, I don't do those kind of things.
Stuff, yeah.
But these boys are about 12, 13, and they had the mindset to use, one of them wanted to use his friend. Do you blame him? Because I feel like the content they're seeing says that, okay, the only way you can be a leader, the only way you can make money, the only way you can be wealthy is if you do something either diabolical or something, criminal. So what role does the media have in terms of the kind of content that these children are seeing in terms of shaping or shaping their leadership qualities?
Sorry, let me have that book. I want to just read a quotation.
Have a book. Give me a book.
Yeah. I just want to have a quotation on that book that will answer most of the questions you are asking. But let me start with this. So this quotation says, every human is born with compassion. Your environment or circumstances only nurture or kill it, but without your permission. Now, what he's saying is that but not without your permission. Pardon me, please.
You must be conscious. You must accept that.
Yes, there's something, even though you don't know when it happens, but there's something. So it's bringing 2 things here. First one is what you are born with as a human. What makes you a human? So you are a human being. You're not an animal. We are born human because human were born human. So that element that makes you a human, the compassion, the kindness, whatever you're talking about, that are elements of leadership, you are born with them, right? Now, the second part, where the permission, without your permission comes in, is your mind. Because you interact with the environment, you interact with society, circumstances. So when you now bring in the media, their role in this quotation is at the environment and circumstances. If this is the only thing that they project, quick money, these other children that are just growing up, they are still very curious, they are still very mentally, open. They still want, this is what they see. Then you fill up that vacuum. There's no vacuum there. They must fill it up with something. And they think that the best way to make quick money are those things. The Nollywood, the ritualists, a lot of rituals and everything and so on and so forth. There are movies personally, like when we start talking about the environment and circumstances, even as an adult, I like what you said. I've also chosen to stop watching some kind of all this media, all these movies with brutality, this and that, and so on and so forth. Personally,
I find it very offensive.
Offensive. I just stopped. So I consider most of these drama, genre that about humanity, somebody who had done so well for the community, passed through all sorts of circumstances and conditions, but he or she stood on his values or her values, and at the end, it becomes a happy story. So these are the kind of movies I watch, and I also encourage my children to do that. They're all part of the circumstances. And this environment is so huge. You meet it everywhere. Your peers, your teacher, what you see every day, and so on and so forth. So the Young LIONNA Club is actually trying to start creating, that is the permission you're talking about, creating a deliberate and conscious environment that will help these children to grow. And what do? We are approaching this through 3-dimensional pedagogy. Pedagogy as model of teaching to these children, and it has to do with the 3-dimensional cognitive approach or approaches to that. One is that in the club, we have trained the teachers to help them, to teach them, based on the content of this book. So they hear what the teacher says. They also have video that they watch in the club. Every club activities will play a video that is in line with the content of the chapter or the lesson they are learning for that week. So we play that video. So they also see visuals that's also saying the same thing that the teacher says, and they also have a book that they read that also say the same thing. So by the time you attack this through this 3-dimensional cognitive, you have no other option to start believing that this is what humanity is all about. It's not all about the money. There's a chapter that is one of my favorite chapters that says, leaders are mankind and not money kind.
Leaders and mankind
mankind and not money kind. It's dissected. In fact, it's so lovely. Each time, even though we put it together, but I read it like all the time. I just love that chapter because the inspiration that brought, in fact, I'm not sure that there's any African child that will go through that training or that lesson that will remain the same. You will see the reason because you made them to understand that money is all it is because of human beings. If you kill all the people in your community, that money will be useless. You have to buy a product from someone who had worked hard to produce that. If the person says, I'm not going to sell to you, that money becomes useless. So all the power that money enjoys is because human beings made it that way. We value the products, the services. Money cannot do all that. If you come to my hospital, I decide not to treat you, then you eat your money. Let the money treat you. So the high time they started, valuing human beings, seeing their fellow that these are the money I see. These are my main resources. Without these guys, the money wouldn't make any sense. And there are whole lots of other lessons that are joined to that. So in terms of the media, we are hoping, just like what you are doing today, bringing us, we so much appreciate that. And we believe that all of us could be part of solutions. The media, the people, the teachers, the school, the parents, the government, everybody. And what we are trying to do is to save ourselves, bring ourselves from this, what the fella called colo mentality. I hope you understand the colo mentality.
Yes.
That everything we think is what the colonial masters give you.
Yes.
You've lost your own mentality. You have your own culture. You have your own values. You have all these things that they envy. And they are coming here to take the best of your brains, take the best of your resources. If they have everything working for them,
why are they coming here?
And we are not saying that there's nothing wrong with them.
Yeah.
Because the kind of humanity we are teaching our children is embrace anybody, irrespective of this race, color, ethnicity, religion. No, we are all humans because we have only one blood, and that blood is red wherever you go.
Wherever you go. Chris, what would you say are the kind of attributes one should be looking out for when you're trying to make one a leader, or when you say someone is a leader, especially for a young child? What kind of attributes should we be looking out for?
Yeah, it's all encompassing.
Okay.
But in one, when he said we have to be first human, there's certain things it takes to be a human being.
So humanity, number one.
Number one.
Yes.
Then the subsequent things is to be sincere. Sincerity begins with yourself. Tell yourself that I'm a human being and I have to behave like a human being. Then from there, you begin to understand, okay, what does it take to be a human being? One, honesty. Two, providing service. The major responsibility of a human being is to provide service. And that thing you are providing is not for yourself. You cannot not give yourself what you already have. The reason you exist is for other people.
Yes.
So what you look at for is, what can I do? And anything you are doing should be for the benefit of others. That's where the issue of the conflict between what we now do today and what we should be is that human beings are working, whatever they are doing is about how much will it bring into my bank account, rather than how much will people gain from what I'm doing. Another aspect of it is teamwork. Knowing that this life is full of many things, and you are only a part of the life you live. Other people have their different parts. So you can't live perfectly in this world as a lone person. And that is also, it connects with one another. That's why if I am a bricklayer, for example, I need a tomato seller to be able to get my food. Then if I concentrate on bricklaying, I should be able to do it perfectly. That a tomato seller will depend on me, to do what he wants to do. And if we all live like that, providing service, you find out that naturally we don't even need money to live.
It could be trade by barter.
Exactly, something like that.
Whatever you call it.
Yeah.
But whatever that constrains humanity from living a peaceful and joyful life shouldn't be considered. For me, if you ask me, if we want truly to make a world a better place, because we could see, even in advanced societies, America, Europe, and all of that, you see people are living, but they're not happy. They're not comfortable. Something is missing. Then another thing we talked about, being compassionate, considering, putting your other people in your own shoe. If it's me, will I love to be treated this way?
Yeah.
You understand? So these are the These are some of the things. Other things include, making sure that your environment is safe because you exist. The safety of our environment is very critical. Today, we are talking about some people did not travel this Christmas because of insecurity.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if we are our brother's keeper, a robber should not be on the road waiting for his brother to take what he has or kill his brother or many. So these are the aftermath of things we've not done, the orientations we've not given. And if we start now, the beauty of it is that whatever we start to correct now, in a few years, we'll begin to see, the multiplier effects in our society. And I think our society will be better for it.
Good. I just flipped through the pages of this book, Lesson 6, Leaders Are Servants. I love that title because that's one thing that's missing. We forget that leadership is also servitude. You have to learn to serve people. But, the narrative has always been, I'm the boss, I'm the leader, and then it's not that. So I actually like the fact. Another thing I like about the book, because I'm actually flipping through the pages, I like the fact that you used African pictures, African black children, black images to depict, the African child, not the conventional how you see a white child. So that's very commendable. And then also flipping through some of the pages, it has a task bar here where, there are certain tasks you have to do, and then you have to write that you've done it. So that's very, Henry C. Debem and Chris C. Nwani, co-authors of this lovely book, The Young LIONNA. So I must thank you so much for being a part of the program. Also commend you for it's necessary that we need to instill and build that leadership qualities among the youths. They are the next leaders of tomorrow. So that's, we can't flog this horse, for too much. We have to do it. So yes, well done for a good job. And then the age for me works. It's perfect. 6, 7 formative ages is like a sponge. They're ready to absorb so many things. And then the fact that people are taking out your time, you've done this book, and you're trying to pass the message along. I wish you the best.
Thank you so much.
And then on that note, we have to wrap up the program. But it's been very interesting talking to my guests in the studio. All of us are leaders in our own way. So I'll also say that this message should not end with them. We've spoken about it. They're children just looking for one person to guide them in the right direction, and you could be that change agent that can get the Nigerian youth, the Nigerian child on the right path to making, good leadership decisions and directions. Well, the show has come to an end. So tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock, Aso Money continues. Ifunanya Amafili, do have an awesome day.